anyone else fancies joining in on the cycling, it would be really appreciated. Because otherwise I'm going to be cycling for an hour and a half, and I haven't got it in me. Well, let's crack straight on with the next act. We are very lucky to have a Conservative MP that's come down to have some talk. Not real, it's a character. Not real, it's fictional, yeah? Pretend. Real life Conservative MP, please get some applause going. Start with cheering and welcome Sir Ian Bowler MP.
Afternoon. Right, I'm here to explain some of the government's policies to you people. A lot of beards here today. The only beard I wanted to see this weekend was Liam Fox's wife. Right, let me tell you, this isn't the way we go about things in this country. We don't protest, we don't riot. This isn't France. In this country, if we're upset about something, we write a stern letter to the Telegraph. We mutter in pubs. We go on a killing spree until Paul Gascoigne brings us chicken. That is our way. I like a laugh as much as the next man. More if the next man's Norman Tebbit, he hates laughter. And young people shouldn't be allowed to go around smashing up private property unless they are members of a very, very exclusive drinking society. During the riots, I saw Michael Gove on Newsline. He was appalled. He was appalled. He said it was rampant criminality, and I thought that was brave. Very brave. But let's not forget that Michael Gove once confused one of his houses with another of his houses to defraud the taxpayer of £7,000. So he knows rampant criminality when he sees it. I saw Ed Miliband on the news tonight. He looked shocked. His eyes were wide, mouth open, and he wasn't shocked, but he looked shocked. David Cameron, he recalled Parliament. Now, I know some of you have said that for all the good it did, it may as well have recalled the Thundercats, but that's not true. Recalling Parliament gave us MPs a chance to do our job, which is to look concerned and shout at each other in that building there. David Cameron said that the riots were a time for Britain to take stock. I couldn't disagree more. If anything, that was the problem. They took stock from JW Sports, they took it from Carlton Warehouse. The riots were time to bring stock back. Oh, then you all had a go at David Starkey, didn't you? Oh, the politically correct police had a go at David Starkey. Let me tell you something. I hate political correctness. I abhor political correctness. I have a handicapped son, but nowadays you can't say handicapped son. You have to say, I have a daughter. They knew what they were getting when they booked Starkey. You know the old saying, give David Starkey enough rope and he'll try and lynch a black person with it. Starkey got in trouble for saying that if you turned the screen off, David Lammy sounded white. Which is interesting, because if you turn the screen off, David Starkey sounds like a massive racist. And then they had the gall to blame us. They said it was our fault because of the expenses scandal. We weren't leading properly. Well, let me tell you, a few mistakes may have been made. In my own case, these include the Duck Island, the Donkey Archipelago, the Beaver Peninsula, and the series of outbuildings that became known as Monkey Mansion. In retrospect, with a little cursory research, I could have discovered that rhesus monkeys are highly aggressive and territorial and infectious. But had I known that, I could not in all good conscience have hired them to work in our local Shore Start Centre. Questions were also raised over the fact that I paid my wife £86,000 a year for secretarial services. But look at it this way. I used to have a very, very expensive prostitute habit. By paying my wife a nominal fee for the same services, apart from the anal, we've had to outsource that. It's a cost saving to the taxpayer. Her shorthand is excellent. Her other hand's not bad either. So it's been conference season. Conferences where we saw Ed Balls really stick it to people on tuition fees, didn't we? He stuck it to those who think that £9,000 a year is small change, on behalf of those who think that £6,000 a year is small change. Ed Miliband told a story about his two young sons, who he called the next generation of Milibands. He said he hopes that they turn into doctors, presumably so that when one stabs the other in the back, he can at least sew him up. It was a good speech. It was wealth creators versus asset strippers, predators versus producers, predators versus aliens, Mario versus Sonic, Run DMC versus Aerosmith. All in one struggle. So I've changed my opinion of Ed Miliband. I used to think that he looked like a haunted broom peering up from the bottom of a startled well. Now I think he looks like an albino pepperami in a wind tunnel. Slipper. So we're in coalition now, and a lot of people ask me, what is a coalition? Well, I like to think of it like this. A coalition is when you take two powerful complementary forces and put them together to make something even better. So, for instance, if you took a weasel and you put it into a sack with another weasel and you squeeze really, really hard, then maybe, just maybe, you'll end up with one enormous mega weasel! Or two dead ordinary weasels in a sack full of weasel blood. It's a win-win. The essence of the coalition is compromise. David Laws was very against the sort of cuts we're proposing, now he's very for them. Vince Cable was against raising VAT to 20%, now he's very for it. Nick Clegg was against raising tuition fees, now he's for it. There's been a lot of compromise on both sides of the Lib Dems. But we had to do it, we had to do these things because of the economy. When we came into power, the borrowing had never been as high as a proportion of GDP. Never, never, ever, never, ever, ever since 1993. And you don't want to go back there. There were only 4 television channels and Terry Christian was on one of them. Marty Clark's Good Sex Guide. Mr. Blobby. Jamiroquai. Suddenly, like that, overnight in 1993, global hypercolour t-shirts aren't cool anymore. And you have to sit on the far side of the bus on the scroll trip to Bewley, listening to Genesis on tape and wishing you would. So we had a comprehensive spending review. We had to have a comprehensive spending review, as a result of which 500,000 public servants will lose their jobs. I'd like to take a serious moment now to say a word to them, which is... You didn't think we'd do it! You didn't think we'd do it, but we did! Forest's gone, aircraft carriers gone, doctors gone, nurses gone, libraries gone, poor people fucked, not so poor people fucked, disabled people fucked, rich people... No, hang on, let's not get silly. We are all in this together, unless you want to get a degree, in which case you're only fucking go. We have to sell off the forest. Mrs. Thatcher needs a new place for her gingerbread house. People say Andrew Lansley is a shill for private healthcare. That's not true. That's his wife's job. The £21,000 he took for John Nash, CEO of Care UK, he didn't know who he was. He's not corrupt. He's just stupid. I'd like to say something about the NHS. When my wife had our daughter, she had a difficult delivery. I would just like to say that without the kindness and experience and expertise of the NHS, my wife would not be here today, and I would be a free man. Tourists come from all over the world to experience our healthcare system, so to stop that, we should make it worse. We have the best healthcare providers in the world, so we must change it immediately. You don't even know what NHS stands for, really. It could stand for National Herpes Service, the Nando's and Halitosis Society, the, I don't know, nipple hemorrhage system. You don't know, none of you. We've got a lot of problems in this country. One of the most major which is violence against women. We must ask ourselves as a society why. Why is there such violence against women? The answer is because they just don't listen. Take Margaret Thatcher. You wouldn't have seen Margaret wandering around Croydon city centre with her tits hanging out at 3 o'clock on a Sunday morning singing "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me?" You couldn't. She had her tits removed in 1948 and replaced with iron spikes that would fire from her chest and puncture your eyeballs if you even thought about her tits. Just ask David Blunkett. We've gone too soft in this country. The Archbishop of Canterbury says we need Sharia law. We don't need Sharia law. In Riyadh, they'll cut off your hand for stealing a loaf of bread. That's outrageous. That should be a hanging offence. Capital punishment is the only language some people understand. Even worse, French is the only language some other people understand. I was hanged every day at school. It didn't do me any harm, apart from a withered arm and some sexual dysfunction. Oh yes, I haven't had an erection since the Falklands War. It wasn't just the Belgrano that went down that way. Hear a lot of poppycock talk nowadays about the decline in British motoring. Time was you saw nothing but British cars on the road. The Triumph Gerald, the Morris Tea Cake, the Austin Nanny came with twin airbags as standard. Airbags you could just lose yourself in and forget all about Daddy not coming to see you open the batting for the second 11. Father! You're too old for Daddy now! You're too old for Daddy now! And you want to go to the cellar? Do you want to go to the cellar where it's dark and it's cold? There are rats crawling around the corners of the room, and you can cry, 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 and you can cry, you can cry, you can cry. I'm not coming to get you! It'll make a man of you! You killed your poor mother with your enormous head. St. George, good English Saint St. George, born in Malta, lived in Libya, never came to England in his life. He's as English as the Prince of Wales. Oh yes, Charles, Schleswig, Holstein, Saxe, Coburg, Gotha is as English as you or I. Not you look Mediterranean. You can tell he's English. 1, he owns castles. 2, he's eccentric. And 3, he's attracted to a woman who looks like she's passing her way through a cow's second stomach. These are English values, English virtues, green teas, sticky wickets, Queen Mother, and oh,
Hard-working family.
Oh, I've got another one.
Harder.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm just going to cancel my subscription to the Daily Mail.